Right, guys, brace yourself. We're about to rank and put forward, in order, our top 5 Premier League defensive midfielders of all time. Let's get into our lists. Okay. Deep breath, everyone.
Apologies in advance.
Apologies in advance. No, I'm not saying
I won't
sorry.
say sorry for this.
It's a bit fun.
Big man.
Okay, so 5th, this will surprise you. I've gone Rodri 5th. Because I think this will age well. I think the thing that is fortunate for any player is the team around you. And I think he's going to be there for a long time. He's only 26. I think Man City will continue to be fantastic, certainly for the next 3, maybe 4 years. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens once Pep finally leaves. And there's someone that I've not gone for, who I imagine you guys might have put in as 5th, who doesn't make it onto my list. And I won't give the reason for it right now, but I have a reason why he sneaks in. I think Rodri, that is one where it probably feels a little bit premature right now, but I think time will tell and it will easily be in the top 5.
You're going to hate this. If you hate that, you're going to hate this. I won't tell you I've put Rodri, but I've put Keane in 5th.
That is...
Hear me out. Give me a minute.
Let him land.
In the same way you sort of said that like Rodri plays for this City team and like he can blend in with that team. I think although Keane was more notable for a lot of what he provided the team in terms of his character and his leadership, the same things we criticised a certain Jordan Henderson for. I've always felt like if I could swap Keane out for a better footballer, I would have done that every day of the week, because I think he was a good footballer. But I think like another person who's in this list was a much better footballer, and I would like my 6 to be an all-rounded, unbelievable footballer while also being a good leader and all the other good things as well.
What I think we should probably do here is I'm ready to jump on that, but I think we should wait until they come up in our list to let the other person know why they're wrong. So who is in 5th place for you?
Rodri, I agree with you in this one. He's just such a good footballer, waxed lyrical about how good he is, and give him time and he will obviously elevate in this list, and maybe he'll end his career as the greatest Premier League CDM of all time. But there are so many top CDMs that have played in this league in the golden era of the Premier League as well, who are higher on this list. So I think 5th right now for Rodri, it makes sense and it feels right.
Okay, give us your 4th.
4th, another Man City player, Fernandinho. He predates Pep Guardiola, so you can't say that he is a result of a Guardiola system. He was there and played under Pellegrini, and he played under Mancini, and he's such a good footballer that evolved his game. When he first came in, similar to Rodri, wasn't that fancied. But in his latter years, you saw how important he was to Man City, and he won everything apart from the Champions League. He won multiple league titles, and his sustained brilliance and ability to just make the difficult things look simple is the reason why Rodri had somebody to look to, and maybe it helped him assimilate a lot quicker, because it asked him to do what Fernandinho does, but just maybe with a few different facets and elements to his game. So Fernandinho, for me, it feels right to put him at number 4 on this list.
I've also got Fernandinho in 4th. I agree with you. I think longevity is part of this. The fact that he could go back into centre-back as well, someone who's not really got the size, but I guess in a Pep team he was able to do so. Very good at probably the leading man in little fouls, I think, importantly as well. But actually, kind of underrated as a player, but I think the longevity in a Man City side that has been amazing, but probably isn't as complete as this Rodri one, puts him just in front for me. So all that together. It looks like you haven't got Fernandinho 4th. Who have you gone for?
I've gone with Rodri.
Okay.
I think he's got a little bit... I mean, he's 26, so in 4 years when we redo this, he'll be top of this list for a lot of people, I think, because of the way he's going. And as I've said time and time again, I don't think he's replaceable. I think you've seen Calvin Phillips come in and he just can't emulate what he does for that team. He's one of these players that are just like embodies everything really good about a Pep side. Physical, aggressive, but so much variation to his passing game. And he's fit all the time. And if you're not fit,
right,
I'm bringing it back. You're not here.
So Fernandinho, does he make it onto your list?
He does.
Oh, he does. Okay, so we'll stick with you. 3rd spot.
Yeah, I've gone with Kante. I feel like James hasn't got him on his list. But I think Kante, having won the league with Leicester and then with Chelsea, my only thing with Kante is he only did it for 2 seasons, but for them 2 seasons he was actually out of this world. And to help that Leicester team to a title, the amount of clean sheets that Leicester team kept to win the title was all down to him, with no disrespect to that back line. But if I gave you that back four right now, you'd swap it for most back fours that have won the Premier League since, or even finished second, Kante made the difference. And obviously Kasper.
Okay, so you've got Kante in third. Kweku, who is your third?
Kante in third for me as well.
The result last.
And it makes sense. Kante, like you say, for those 2 seasons, that 15-16 season of Leicester where they won the league and he was an integral member of that side. And then the season afterwards, the Chelsea 16-17, the Chelsea side who finished 10th in the league the year before, came in, was the PFA Player of the Year. For a DM to win those awards, it doesn't happen. And he was such a difference maker. The reason why he's not higher, because I think at that point, at the end of the 2016-17 season, we were all probably thinking this is going to be the greatest DM that we've ever seen in the Premier League. Obviously, injuries occurred, and I'm with you as well. The best ability is availability. He's not been available for the last 2-3 years, and that's the issue with N'Golo Kante. But we love the personality, we love the style of play, and number 3 on the list feels right.
Biting my lip here. Okay, third spot, I've got Vieira. I felt Vieira was a wonderful, wonderful player. Wonderful, wonderful player. And I haven't got too much to sort of go against with him. And she was there quite a long time as well, if you think, about 6 years, captain as well. Scored the odd goal, great size about him as well, was able to keep the ball. Yeah, maybe could even put him higher, but there was just 2 players that I needed to put above him. So that's why I've got Vieira in third. Okay, stay with me. Second spot for me is Roy Keane. Roy Keane, the disrespect.
He's 5th on an all-time list.
No, this guy was phenomenal for Man United for a long time. And how good he was as a player was completely slept on because of all those other elements. Yeah. And the way that he was able to sort of drag a whole... You've heard all the stories about the culture there. Was he a little bit too much? Yeah, and that's probably why we saw the end of him in the way that we did. But scoring goals, retaining possession constantly. He was actually much more of a metronome than people realise as well for this Man United side. Able to be box to box alongside him. You hear him talk about that all the time in terms of you've got to be able to offer absolutely everything. He was ferocious, so scary as a player. One PFA Player of the Year as well. I want to say 2000 maybe. He was just so complete. So complete. More goals than Vieira as well, I would guess. Someone could let me know in the comments. But that's why I put him ahead of Vieira. Second spot, Nubaid, in this mess of a list that you're giving us.
My list is nailed. I'm gonna tell you who scored more goals. I'm pretty sure Keane did not score more goals than Vieira. It's taking a minute to load. Second in my list. Oh, they're gonna hate me. I go on Vieira. It's everything you said. I do think. When I think about a 6, he always felt like, to me, he was more of a box-to-box midfielder. Keane was more of a 6, and I think there were times in his career where...
Second half of his Man United career, more of a 6.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's the same problem with both of those in terms of them being defensive-minded, but actually played in a 4 and
in that era, the game for midfielders was changing so much.
Yeah.
So I think like Vieira is a given on any list for midfielders, let alone DMs.
Yeah.
So he's second on my list.
Okay, Kweku.
Roy Keane, second on my list.
Second?
Yeah, for all the reasons that we've detailed, I think he gets slept on in terms of his ability to play, his ability to retain possession, ability to or the willingness to pick the ball up off his centre backs and actually play football through the lines, which is not what a lot of centre midfielders were doing back in the day. And to do so, Alex Ferguson's bidding, I know that those two fell out towards the end, but he was the mouthpiece on the pitch, and I know that he gets lauded for all the leadership traits. But to captain a team to 5 Premier League titles, to win 7 in total, cannot be underestimated. And he was the reason why the Manchester United team ticked. And for me, he's in top 2 centre midfielders of all time.
My man had one of the best right midfielders in the world. Of all time in the Premier League, one of the best left wingers of all time in the Premier League, one of the best midfielders of all time in the Premier League. He was just a bit that was there as well. If he sees this, he's going to absolutely kill me.
Just a bit that was there. He was the crown jewel of it.
No, he was not the crown jewel.
He was the fulcrum of that side.
He was the captain.
He was the fulcrum of that side.
Listen, Jordan Henderson's the captain. You disrespect him every other week.
Because this is Scholes before Scholes was like deep line
We're
play.
having this conversation. We're having this conversation because of Rodri. Rodri, manager, Pep Guardiola, the greatest manager of all time, playing with Haaland, playing with Kevin De Bruyne, playing with Gundogan, who you think is the greatest centre midfielder of all time. Rodri's playing with better players than Roy Keane did.
And you're saying Rodri's the most important Man City player. So what's Roy Keane?
He's not the most important Man U player. That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
Amazing.
And
right.
The thing is, he's 5th on a very tight list, and I'm still saying he was very, very good. But I don't think he compares to the other guys on the list.
Okay. First top
And he's murdering me if he sees this.
spot. Who's in top spot for you then, Nubaid?
I go with Fernandinho.
Wow.
Five-time Premier League winner. And also, he was in an era where City should never have been anywhere near the league title until Pep came along. And he did it under Mancini, under Pellegrini, and then under Pep. Yeah. And every time the chance came for him to redevelop his game or find a new asset to his game, he could basically do everything we're talking about in all these DMs. And also, he came from Shakhtar, if you remember. And I remember when he came, people were like, who is this guy that was signed from Shakhtar? He was almost like clowned a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he turned out to leave Pep, and Pep was like, I don't know if we can ever replace him. He also like basically taught Rodri to be fourth on this list for most of us. So, I just think in this era now, Rodri will win 5 or 6 Premier League titles, which is amazing and wonderful. Fernandinho wasn't in that era until Pep came along.
Okay. Top spot?
Patrick Vieira for me, a midfielder that could do everything. We talk about leadership qualities with Roy Keane. Vieira had that in abundance, obviously had that rivalry with Roy Keane. Could do everything on the football pitch, was a complete midfielder. I know we're talking about DMs here and he did that job excellently, but in terms of just playing football, the style, the ability, the leadership of that Arsenal side that were arguably the greatest Premier League side that we've ever seen. Maybe didn't win as much as these other guys on the list, but he won enough. And we're talking about Premier League all time, but when you saw him play for France in the Euro 2000, he was a key member of that side. He's a midfielder that was cultured and changed the essence of the Premier League in terms of what he brought to it. And I think that you wouldn't have seen players like Yaya Toure come after if it wasn't for a Patrick Vieira. For me, if you're building a centre midfielder, he looks like Patrick Vieira.
Okay. I went with Kante. Kante is the right decision here, okay? Kante went with a...
How are you not contesting that?
Right, you guys, listen to me. You've been talking about these players playing for Man City, winning title after title after title, and they've got budget, they've got quality absolutely everywhere. Leicester City won the league, and it was a miracle, right? And they won it because of 3 players. They won it because of Riyad Mahrez, they won it because of Jamie Vardy, and they won it more than anyone, I think, maybe alongside Mahrez, Kante. Kante was outrageous in that team. He then goes to Chelsea, and he goes from one team that's won the league, and I think the other team finished 10th or something like that. Yeah. He goes to that Chelsea side and wins the league like that. And when you look at this list of players, and if you look at that Champions League run as well, he is a match winner in that team. He's that dominant. He gets all over the pitch, is better on the ball than people give him credit for, has made average teams win tournaments, he's made great teams greater. And if I'm picking out of those guys, the first guy I pick is Kante.
Yeah, and I'm not going to argue with it because I absolutely love N'Golo Kante, who sadly looks like he's leaving Chelsea. I would just say that the peak was not long enough. And I partly put that down to Maurizio Sarri playing him when he was injured. That helped us win the Europa League final, but he's never been the same since. Also, Sarri slightly changed his position to make him a box-to-box midfielder, which he can do, but Kante as a seek and destroy centre midfielder was the best we've ever seen. And so because we didn't get to see the best of Kante for enough years, I wouldn't put him at number 1, but I don't hate the choice.
I just think he's amazing. And if you think of the players around him, Danny Drinkwater made him 10 times the player. Jorginho made him 10 times the player. Paul Pogba, playing for France, looks so much better because of Kante. That is why he's my number 1.
I think I love the guy, and I think he's an outstanding footballer, but I think 2 seasons at the top.
But you'd pick Fernandinho. So if we're picking teams, you're picking Fernandinho over Kante.
Well, hold on. We're saying Kante did it for 2 years, and we're trying to pick...
No. He did it for more than 2 years, didn't he?
I think it was like 2.5 years, and then
he's not had a 2-year career in terms of winning titles back to back.
The season after he won the league with Chelsea, he's not the same anymore.
But he's still been wonderful.
And so I just think if you said pick a player at his absolute peak on his day to play as a 6, I'm picking Kante. But that was not the question. The question was Premier League DMs, and I'm picking Fernandinho.
Right, guys.
Rain, hail, or snow.
I will be checking out the comments. Feel free to let me know how you feel and put forward your 5 top DMs in Premier League history. Let us know.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.